of your relationship, and you can't do that.
No,
you gotta have your own personal relationship. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta have your own personal relationship, and I think that's why a lot of marriages don't work out. You know what I mean? Because people, one thing about it, a preacher told me one day. He said one thing about it is what the enemy tries to do is cause division in our house. You know what I mean? Cause a division in the house. Once you start to cause division in the house, all stuff start to break loose in the house. You know what I mean? So what I try to do is I try to keep my house covered. As a priest of my own, I got to keep my house covered. You see what I'm saying? Got to keep my house covered. Whenever I see the snake, step on his head. You know what I mean? And keep it pushing. That's how I try to move.
So can I interrupt you real quick? So there was a couple things you said before, but I can't remember. But there was one thing where I was listening to where they were saying, what does a man bring to the table as far as money? Like they all they could talk about is basically if what else does a man like, what else is a man good for? If we only talking money. And a lot of women can't say. If you corner them and pin them down, they cannot tell you what a man is good for. You just told me you were a priest. The man can be a provider. He can be a protector, right? He can profess his love to you. There's so many things about a man that you need without his money. One person said presence, and it didn't hit me. He said, if I'm standing here as a man next to you, no man is going to come and do anything he wants to you. So just the fact that I'm here is protection enough. And he's like, I wish somebody would. You know what I mean? Like, I think yesterday I was approached by somebody and it was getting very weird. And I was like, yo, he's about to follow me. I had to skedaddle. Like, he was like, I tried to talk to you. You better talk to me. I'm from Africa and I haven't, all these years I've been here, you're the first woman I talked to. So now give me your number. I said, bro, that's not how this works. You ain't entitled to my number. And that was like one of the few times I was afraid. I was like, it's dark. I said, I'm going to turn to the left, even though I'm to the right. He was not playing. He came back with his car, like, okay, give me your number now. I was like, oh, no. Yeah, it's like, but if a man was there, that would never happen. If a man was there to protect you, some people cannot come and do anything they want to your children, to your household. They can't just walk up in your household. Absolutely not. But we don't think about those things. We're like, oh, the police is coming. Be in an emergency and tell me how effective the police is, how effective the ambulance is if the emergency is within the first 10 to 15 minutes. By the time they come, they just doing the cleanup. But if it's a man there.
You said that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's funny you said that when you talk about coming to the table. Now, I try to tell a person this when they ask me this, right? Well, when I come to the table, I bring all I need to bring with me. And they say, well, what is that? I'm bringing Christ to the table with me. Mm-hmm. If Christ lives in me, I'm bringing Christ. Mm-hmm. And if I'm following what Christ is telling me to do, be good. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm bringing Christ. Forget about money. Forget about all that other stuff, because the Bible tell you that stuff will fade away. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. That stuff will fade away after a while. So, when I come to the table, I got to bring Christ, because I know once I bring Christ with me and Christ is first in my life, everything else will fall into place.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? A lot of people don't think like that. Like that question, when you ask a person that question, to me, that's what that question means. But a lot of people say, oh, well, I got a house, I got a car, I got this. If you need anything, I can protect you from this. I can protect you from that, and all this and that. Not even thinking that if me and you out and 3 or 4 people come by, you know what I mean, to try to jump with us and do something to us, you know what I mean, my hope is in Christ to protect me, you know what I mean? So, all that stuff, that's just how I look at that type of stuff, you know what I mean? That's my mindset on that, you know what I mean?
Can I say something?
I'm like, nah, yeah.
So a lot of times, like, some people ask me why do I take money off the table? Because the people that had the money didn't have the character. One. Also, if I take money off the table, I can really see who somebody is, right? And if I take money off the table, God continues to be my provider. whether he got it or not, God is my provider. So the thing about Africa is Africa's so valuable because the people that know how to convert the raw materials in Africa is full of gold and silver and all these wonderful things in the earth, the minerals, right? Haiti, another place full of amazing materials that the U.S. wants and all of that, and that's why it's so much instability. If you can get to the source of it, you can make a lot more money, right? And than anything else. If you can get real gold, it's better than money. So if I can get to the source, which is God, I mean, we used to have this conversation. I'm like, God, you kind of better than 10 husbands. You know what I mean? Like he's the source. Like he is the main thing. Like if everybody doesn't answer the phone, we always say this as Christians, God will answer the phone, right? He will always be there when people can't be there. So wouldn't it make sense that you continue to allow God to be your source, even if you have a husband or as a woman, we have to look to our husband. But if you allow God to be the source, and if you allow your foundation to be in God, like y'all have way less to worry about because the problems can go to God. It don't have to go to him, to the man. Okay, we believe y'all Superman, but at the same time, we don't know that y'all really like, dang, I don't know how I'm gonna do it this month. You know, we just think y'all always got it.
Yeah, I got you. Mm-hmm. Not only just that, another thing I think relationships is missing praying together. Prayer is missing in relationships.
That's true. That's true.
Prayer is missing in relationships.
Now, I had an ex that was super duper religious. I wouldn't even say spiritual, super duper religious, but I don't think this person really prayed for me. Like on the, and then somebody else that would not be as religious prays for me every day. Every day. So what we think is it may not be what God says is it.
Yeah.
And the person that was super religious did the dirtiest thing you could ever do to a human. So that'll mess you all up in the head and say, well, dang. But it's okay. I learned from that. That's why I say, can the woman, if she's not quoting scriptures, because some of the quoting scripture people be high alert. I know I was quoting scripture, but it just came to me. But it's like if they're shaming you with a scripture, be on high alert. So that doesn't always mean that they're spiritual or they have a connection with God. That just means they know what to say when they want to manipulate and get their way. You see what I'm saying? Some people know some verses that they can say and get you to do whatever they want. That's not how that's supposed to work.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, I've seen that
happen. I tell a story of somebody try to get me to come to their church, try to use real estate and everything like that. And then he tried like, you need to be here tonight with some prophet such and such is coming and God has a word for you. And I was like, because I have a relationship with God. I'm like, well, why God didn't tell me? I said, well, can you tell me what it's about? He couldn't tell me what it's about. You got to be there. I was like, no, first of all, I just posted a really provocative picture, okay? For me. It's very respectful, but it's still provocative to me, right? And now you want to tell me I'm supposed to be at church tonight. So he was playing mad games, and I was like, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. And that's why I kind of stopped doing that stuff. Yep. A whole shark.
It kind of reminds you of the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the religious leaders, right?
Like men, what men don't know is that we can see when y'all in our DMs minutes after we make a post. Okay, and for the people that post all the time, minutes. Everybody that's posted in that same minute, I already know what that's about. I'm ignoring that. You know what I mean? So that's what happened in that scenario. And I was like, so you trying to use God to say that he said something to me? And I was like, well, dang God, why you tell him and not me? This man's not my husband. Why would God tell you? Are you crazy? God can tell me. I talk to God all the time, every day.
That's what the scriptures say. Try the spirit by the spirit. Yeah.
And then I said no. Wait, when I said no, he was like, oh, that's why I'm not going to get no real estate from you. I was like, bro, you was never going to buy real estate. This guy talking about the church members was going to buy a building. I was done. I said, I need to see a pre-approval. He said, let me go check. I said, wow, how many tricks do you have, friend? How many tricks do you have? I was like, I was never gonna get it anyway. You ain't got no money.
That's the enemy though, but that's how the enemy works, man.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's how the enemy works. He's subtle, man. He's subtle, man. He's subtle. I seen a lot of that stuff go on, man.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff. I remember I was dating this one girl, and she would go to church with me.
Mm-hmm.
She asked me all that stuff. She would call me at night and be like, "Hey, what you doing?" "Oh man, I'm in here studying the Book of Proverbs." "You doing what?" "Yeah, studying the Book of Proverbs. I'll call you back." You know what I mean? She called me back an hour later. "What you doing?" "I'm still studying the Book of Proverbs." He says, "Oh, you serious about that?" I said, "Yeah, why shouldn't I be?" I said, this is life right here, and this is what I need. So then, she started going to church with me. She started going to church here and there or whatever, but she wasn't serious. She was doing it because that's what I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't do it because I do it. Do it because of that's what you want to do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in my mind, I always believe that, if I keep doing what I'm doing, my thing is, I wanted that Proverbs, 31 woman?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'm after. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm after. You know what I'm saying?
You see how in that I did a whole show, like I don't know why I keep looking at the shows like I can read it, but I'm looking at the shows. I put them all on the board, and I was like, I did one, and you're gonna bring them out here, so go ahead back there. And it was about it was like a marriage ready woman or something like that, and we based it off of Proverbs 31 woman, and it was like she sees a field and consider it. She wakes up early in the morning to make sure everybody has food and that everybody has clothes, like her kids are well clothed, and she makes sure everything is there. But she also had people working for her. She made sure they ate, and they was doing household chores. So for all the guys that weren't cooking and cleaning, well, she had made Proverbs 31 lady. But she also had the respect of her husband. And your husband's not gonna respect you if you don't respect him. And so right now we kind of one-sided in society where the women are not respecting the men, but the men are still trying to respect the women. If he's not respecting you, he's not a husband anyway. So why are we even talking about that guy? Let's talk about the guys that want to be a husband, but they can't find a wife that's going to respect them. Mm-hmm. A lot of times women are doing things, sabotaging and being really sneaky behind closed doors, trying to secure their independence. You are not a slave. You see what I'm saying? So they'll do something, and I'm like, no, you need to go check with him first. You need to stop trying to do side little things. You need to be more straightforward and be like a team player. You need to be more supportive, And so, or they'll talk down to them because they got some money or they got a check, a paycheck. They don't need them right now. Yeah, you don't need them right now. But when times are bad, that's when you need them. And you know what is most important about the whole money thing with men? I remember I was like, all right, God, you said, like, do you remember where I think it was in Ecclesiastes and they were like, 2 is better than 1. Like when y'all fall, it's going to be like, it'll be a cold night and that person will keep you warm. Mm-hmm. That's companionship. Not saying, well, when things are bad, people act like when things are bad, it's only bad, for one person. What if it's bad for both? What if you just spent, like the lady on the Dave, what's his name? There's a money guy and Dave Ramsey show, and they spent $120,000 on a wedding. The guy makes $200,000. She makes $70,000, and he lost his job the week after they spent the $120,000. So what happens when both is bad, huh?
Did she stay or she left?
She was trying to figure out what to do. Now here's the trick, the kicker. They both had properties. She wanted him to sell his property and his stock. And what happened was so beautiful. They didn't know whose property was what. They said, it looks like you need to sell this property, but it happened to be hers because it was out of town and they could get some of that money and pay that debt down. And she said, he's going to be very happy because that's my property. But she wanted to sell his stuff. But we both know who rung up that bill, the $120,000. She did it. But she want to take his money to clean up the mess. That's how you want to start up a marriage? If you make a mess, try to clean it up. We're not understanding that part. So we overdo it, and then this is why we need men. I'm sorry, ladies, not sorry, but we need men because we trying to make it a big extravagant moment, but we not thinking past the moment. And the man is designed to keep us looking at the big picture. Until your logical thinking kicks in, then you're not gonna look at the big picture. You're gonna spend all that money, and now you gotta sell your property. So that's what happened with her. She said she was gonna stay work it out with him, but she was so quick to like, well, why can't he sell his stuff? And it was like, you're gonna cause a lot. See, women want to do things and they want to put their husband in a bad situation, but they forgetting about one thing I found out about male retaliation. Now let me ask you: do you think that's real? Male retaliation? Do y'all retaliate quietly?
Well, it all depends on the mindset of a person.
That's true. Well, the not Christ side, your natural. I'm talking about your flesh.
Well, you know, the flesh. If you got control of your flesh, you'll be all right. But if you don't, that's a whole nother level. Because it's been a lot of times I wanted to retaliate when somebody did me dirty. You know what I mean?
They're not gonna hit you. They're not gonna do none of that stuff. But they might. That's why when you don't have sex with a man for 3 years, he go cheat on you because he gonna retaliate. How you feel like you're gonna just get away with it forever? You see what I'm saying? Like, or they withdraw. Like I feel like
his belief system.
Right.
It's his belief system in his flesh, right? Mm-hmm. If I believe that this is worth waiting for, I'm gonna wait on it. Mm-hmm. If I believe it's worth waiting for, you know what I mean? Because you got to remember, man, it's a time and a season for everything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times we step outside of that time, and because we fall victim to our flesh. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And God could be consecrating us, getting us ready. Like say for instance, if you got a guy that's been running the streets, and you got a girl that's been running the streets, and then now they want to slow down and get together, right? Mm-hmm. So now, they just say, okay, let's just do A, B, C, and D. Okay, well, listen. When you was out running the streets, doing what you wasn't supposed to be doing, you attracted a lot of different spirits. So now, when you get with this woman, now those spirits and stuff that you got, you bringing that into the marriage versus you getting yourself clean and getting fixed so God can do it the right way. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now when you step outside of that, and then now, but see, a lot of people don't understand the process of open doors. When you start getting into these relationships and sleep with all these different women, that's leaving the open door. You know what I mean? That's leaving the open door. And then now you got a problem with your flesh. You know what I'm saying? Because the enemy can trick you into one thing. You know what I mean? Listen, man, just try it one time. Like people get strung out on drugs. Just try it one time. You know what I mean? Then before you know it, they out there strung out on the drugs. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it ain't no different with sex.
Right.
So people, okay, they try it for the first time. The next thing you know, they out there strung out on sex. You know what I mean? And a lot of people have a problem with their flesh. But the crazy thing is they don't see it because they so blindsided from it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They just don't see it. And then now you want to bring all that mess into a holy communion. Mm. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now what you're doing is you're polluting what God has as pure. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And holy, you're polluting that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're bringing all that stuff into that. You know what I mean? And I was telling this person this one day, and they was like, well, I don't believe that. That's not true. You know, the spirits and this and that. So I said, okay, well, then when you go to the Bible and you see Jesus at the well, when you told the woman, oh, yeah, you got many husbands, but none of them is your real husband. Meaning you was out there doing what you was doing, but ain't none of them your real husband. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't look at that concept of it. You know what I mean? And also the Bible tell you, my people perish from what? Lack of knowledge. They don't know. They don't know.
Or when you tell them, when you want to tell them the truth, they don't want to hear the truth. So they choose to stay in the darkness as well too.
Yeah, because you know why? You're blowing up their spot. Yeah. You're blowing their spot up. And then now it's like, no, man, I'm not going to do that. I got to get away from that. I got to get away from that. You know what I mean? Nah.
See, with the knowledge, you got to do something with that knowledge. Now you got to be responsible and accountable. They don't want to do that.
Yeah.
They don't want to do that. But you're not understanding that. That's how you get to that next level. That sometimes that next level is a good relationship, and you're not going to get that next. You know how many people go to like they go to work and they don't really work. They make it miserable for everybody else. Have you ever gone to the grocery store and they have you bag all of your own stuff? You gotta bag it, but they're supposed to do the job. So it's kind of like that. It's like, why are you gonna come to work if you're gonna get an attitude when people are, in your aisle? They gotta bring their food. Like, how are they gonna spend the money? How are you gonna get paid if this doesn't happen? You said you wanted the job, but now that you got the job, you got an attitude when people actually want to come in and visit the business. Like you sign up for something, but you don't want to do it. And then you think you're going to be manager of the store one day. You think you're going to be general manager. Are you kidding me? And people think they're getting away with it, but they're keeping themselves stuck. That's why they never get out that job. They did it for 15 years at a underperforming job. Because they will never just clean up their act and be like, you know what? Let me just give it all I got. And that's the same way with relationships. Let me just give it all I got. Maybe this relationship not going nowhere, but I'm going to go out with a bang. I'm going to be the perfect person, right? Honestly, that's probably what happened to me. I said, I'm going to be the perfect wife. And after that year was over, it was time to go. God was like, I'm pulling you out now at this point because you did everything I want you to do. You learned the lessons and you did the things I wanted you to do. And now you see, and when you are perfect, see, this is the problem with our women. We think, anytime you say, well, I'm going to do this right, they say, well, he's still going to cheat. He's still going to cheat. You ever heard of that?
Yeah.
They say that, but the problem is this. I can be a good person, and I learned this from this show. I said, I'm going to choose to be a good person no matter what. I'm going to be kind. I'm going to be sweet. I'm going to be all of those things. You can't walk all over me. That's not going to happen. But I'm going to be me. Now, how you act, that's going to be on you. And now I know how to treat you accordingly based on how you treated my kindness. I know who you are. So it doesn't matter if you're a good woman to a bad man or a good man to a bad woman, right? The person that's not acting right has revealed their hand. So it's only going to pay to be good to them. Yes, they might hurt you, but you're going to find out way faster than the 10 years it could have took you if you was just, I'm going to give you what you give me. I'm going to give you what you give me. You know what I mean? Playing that game, the bare minimum game, just like the shopping, the grocery store example.
I believe that a lot of relationships is targeted by the enemy. You know what I mean? Because the enemy don't want to see the two become one.
No.
Because the Bible says one to chase out 1,000, two chase out 10,000. And when you on a accord with somebody, you know what I mean? You become powerful. It's more power. You become powerful. You know what I mean? You become powerful. So his goal is to distract that and keep that confusion, all types of stuff he sends in marriages. You know what I mean? To attack the marriages.
Right.
You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't see it. You know what I mean? And that's, you know what? You know what else is saving people a lot of time and a lot of stress and hurt? If they go to God and ask God first, God, is this the one that you have for me? Is this the one? You know what I mean? But then when you ask him that, you got to wait on the response. Don't think, oh, well, I asked him, okay, well, I'm going to help God out and I'm going to make this move. You know what I mean? And then when it don't go the way that you wanted to go, you say, oh, well, this might not have been the way that God wanted me to go, so I'm going to try it again, and then still do it the same way without hearing God voice say, okay, this is where I want you to be at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of people make that mistake, man. A lot of people make
I think people
I made that mistake myself.
People don't train themselves to hear God's voice. So now when it's a big deal,
yeah.
they don't know how it sounds. Yeah. They don't know what it looks like. But if you've been listening to God, you're going to know how he sounds. If you ask him for, I was told when I was younger, there's like, you always ask God for like the big decisions in your life. Like I did it once too. So I knew God told me no, and I did it anyway. And then it took forever to get out, you know, and now I always believe that God's plan is better. Like, you, God, what you want to do? We're doing that right there. That's what we're going to do because it's better. And because I learned my lesson. And it took so long to get out of it. Undoing something God told you not to do. Blatantly told you not to do.
That happened to me too. God was telling me no, but lust was telling me yes. Yeah, that happened to me.
And God he will let you do it too. I'm like, God, you can stop me anytime. He's not going to stop you. He's not going to stop you. He's a gentleman, so he's not going to stop you. And, oh, this is what you want to do. I'm going to let you do it. But it's going to cost you. And it's not him. It's just life. It's just reality.
Yeah, man. I've been through that, man. But I'm glad for God's grace and mercy because when I left out in my right state of mind, man. Yeah. I left out my right state of mind. I learned the lesson. You know what I mean? So I said, I'm not going to repeat that lesson over again. Nah.
I'm not doing that either. I definitely man. So one of my points is letting God choose is best. He's the only one that can see people's heart. So David, nobody looked at David and say, this is so good. Nobody looked at David and said he's a king. But me and you both know that he was one of the best kings in the Bible, okay? So good that Jesus came from his as a descendant, right? And all his brothers look like the king. But when we're looking at men as women, we're looking at men today, we're looking at the outer appearance. Does he look good? Is he tall? Is he cute? Is he handsome? Does he have a nice car? We're looking at the outer appearance. David didn't even have a good job. He was watching the sheep. He's probably funky. And he was ruddy. They say he wasn't as cute as his brothers, right? Am I in the Bible or no?
Yeah, you good.
But he ended up being one of the best kings ever. He was a man after God's heart.
Yeah, he had a relationship with God.
Absolutely.
He had a relationship with God. So that right there shows me that, you know, if you're going after somebody, make sure they got a relationship with God.
Yes, because they're going to have all the character traits that you're looking for. You don't got to train them. You don't got to do none of that stuff. God was already training them. Have you ever seen with the person that you're supposed to be with that I'm like, dang, I can't believe you went through that experience so God can get you ready for me. And I can't believe that I went through that experience so that God can get me ready for you. That's how you know.
You know what's crazy though? Is that, if I'm not mistaken, had tried to leave David out and go with the other ones. You know what I mean? You see how the enemy works? Try to leave him out and go with the other ones. You know what I mean? I said, nah. When I think about it, I say, whoa. Now just imagine if the prophet would have said, okay, let's get this one. You know what I mean? But one thing about the prophet was on assignment. He knew that it was something. Hold on. This ain't what God told me, so it got to be something else. It got to be something else. If people can have that mindset, you know what I mean, it'll help them out. You know what I mean? That's why, if you look at it, the divorce rate is high. It's high. It's crazy high, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy high.
Absolutely.
I was looking at something the other day, especially with celebrities and everything, man. It's crazy high. It's crazy high.
Everything's surface level. If it's surface level, it's not going to last. I'm going to marry the person that looks good, that looks like a husband, that has the outside trappings of a husband. Oh, that's the most important thing to them nowadays. What he got? What kind of job he got? Who is he? That's not the most important thing. What's the most important thing is how's that man's heart and how his relationship with God, is his relationship with God, and how does he treat you? How does he look at you? Does he value you? You're like, the most important thing is not how he treats you or values you. You want to go by the material things. Don't that sound like a setup from the enemy? But if I say it, it's like going in one ear and out the other. They want the stuff. They want the money over the marriage.
Yeah.
But
I
they
never
don't
understood how a man can hit on his wife either. I'm like, listen, man, if the two become one, you hurting your own self by doing that. I don't
absolutely. Get it. You're a foolish man. That's how you know he's foolish.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I know that feeling.
Crazy.
I know that feeling to be like,
these niggas is crazy, man.
Yeah, to not support her.
Society is crazy right now.
But I feel like the devil plants people in your life to like throw you off. If you was gonna be good older, he gonna get you while you younger. He gonna mess you up while you younger. For some reason, I used to feel like, well, dang, I'm down. Why would the devil kick me now? That's when he gonna get you. When you the weakest, the most vulnerable, the weakest form of yourself, that's when he's gonna come for you, and he's coming for blood. Coming for blood.
That's what he tried to do with Jesus. He came at Jesus like that.
Yep, at his weakest. Absolutely.
At his weakness. He came at Jesus like that. I try to tell people all the time, man, the devil can't create. All he does is imitate. The stuff he did before, he's doing the same thing right now. It's all the same.
Absolutely.
It's all the same,
oh yeah, it's always a counterfeit. The guy has something, he counterfeited.
Yeah, he counterfeited, man. Man. It's crazy.
So speaking of counterfeits, right? It's one of my points was most people don't know what good character look like because they haven't taken the time to develop their own good character. You think that's true?
That's deep. That's deep right there.
You can't find a good man because maybe you're not that good woman yet.
Yeah.
You can't find a good woman because you maybe not that good man yet.
I believe that.
It's vice versa. I'm not picking on the women. I just talk to women.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that spirits attract, and a lot of people attract some of the stuff of how they really are.
So if you're a liar, right? So I'm sorry to cut you off, but if you're a liar, how are you going to know when somebody is honest all the time? How would you know if all you know is lying? You don't even know how to tell the truth. How are you going to be able to tell if that person? You can tell when they're lying, but you can't tell when they're honest. You can't tell when they have that integrity because you didn't practice it yourself. That's why I was like, I would. You know how you always getting accused of something with somebody that's like toxic or traumatized because they know that's what they would do. It's gonna be pretty hard to find good character when you ain't got it.
Yeah, very hard. Yeah, very hard.
But you look like you're getting tired on me.
Very hard, man. Nah, I've been at work all day long.
I hear you.
Yeah, all day long I've been at work, man. That's a good question, though. That's a real good question.
But see, when you started developing your relationship with God, wasn't it much easier to spot the right woman for you?
Yeah, because you know what? The Holy Ghost began to speak to me because all the stuff that I wanted in a woman, it began to happen. Without me asking. I didn't say nothing. It just began to happen, and also it began to blow my mind when the Holy Ghost brought it to my attention, and I started to think. I said, hold on a minute, man. So then I'm like, well, she's not nothing like the other one. So I'm like, hold on. You know what I mean? At first, it tried to scare me a little bit. So I said, nah, man, because, see, like I try to tell people, it's one thing when you read something in the Bible, but it's another thing seeing it manifest before your eyes.
I'm about to jump over here. You better stop preaching, friend.
I'm telling you, it's another thing to see it manifest before your eyes.
I'm gonna stop you because you got 3 good points there. One, my daughter was like, something was happening. What was it, your ear or something? Something was happening with her eye or ear or something. And then I told her, to pray, say this and whatever. I said something in the name of Jesus. And then I told her to say 3 times or whatever. And she said on the first time, she said something went numb. Her finger went numb or something like that. and it stopped right away. And she was like, whoa. And I was like, is that the
Mm.
first time you've experienced like a miracle right on the spot? She said, yes. I said, so all the
Mm.
times you see the stuff that goes on, and you ain't, it's different when it's you. It's different when it hits you.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you're telling your story, because I had to tell mine, because I had to say to myself, I was like, look, yo, I like what you're saying, but I can't really believe you, because as far as a man being like overly like just praising, like not praising, but just giving good, it's genuine compliments and genuine conversation. And I was like, it's just too much for me. I just had to tell him, I said, this is too much. I can't take it. I said, I really cannot. I like what you're saying, but I can't receive it in my heart right now. I just can't do it, because I feel like it was like something blocking it, where it's like I can't take it, because everything in the past, like when I was told this before, I knew they was lying, or I had to find out they were lying, and it was like, this is honestly the truth. I can't believe it. It's like almost too good to be true. So when you were saying that, like you couldn't receive it at first, I understand what you're saying. And I said, well, this person, and I even tried to say, oh, you just lied to me because of X, Y, and Z. He's like, no, this is what I said. And I was like, oh, you didn't lie. And I was like, this person never did a thing to me. Let me stop putting my stuff on him. You know what I mean? And just allow it to happen. And once I did that, I did a 180. Sometimes we're blocking our own blessings. And I didn't act like that with everybody, but I was recently had to go through something where I had a blank slate, and I let the person like, okay, where we want to go, what do you want to do? And the person still messed me up bad, because they took advantage of my kindness. And like I said, even though he did take advantage of my kindness, it happened so fast. It was like all of the mistakes are happening faster now. So I can let it go much easier and quickly. And then I could say, okay, even if somebody comes to harm you, do it. What? Oh, that's the verse. And didn't he say, do it quickly? Do what you're gonna do quickly, Judas. That's a good one. Do what you're gonna do quickly. I'm done. Go ahead. I'm done. I'm sorry. That was just good. Anybody else here? Anybody else like what's going on tonight? This is great conversation.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you, man. I've been through a lot. I remember, right? I give you this story. Mm-hmm. I was dealing with this girl, right? And I was really in love with the girl, faithful, doing, you know what I mean, playing my part or whatever the case.
I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm gonna stop you right there. Most black women think that men are not faithful. Tell them again, you were faithful.
Yeah. I was faithful not because I loved her. Because I loved her. I was faithful because I loved her, and I didn't want to see her hurt by me doing something foolish. You see what I'm saying? So I loved her, and then I'm doing what I'm doing, but then she ends up doing me dirty. But before then, you know, she would go to church and stuff like that, or whatever. You know, matter of fact, they even got me in the church, but I was just going to church until I left her alone and started dealing with my grandmother that took me to Baptist Worship Center.
Bishop Nelson
Hunter. Yeah, Bishop Hunter. Yeah, I know that. You've been told me that. Bishop Hunter, right? So I went with Bishop Hunter before she moved into the church where she at now. Mm-hmm. The last week she was in, when I got saved, she was in her old church, right? Mm-hmm. So I get saved, I start going to church over there. I could feel God pulling me to go over there, not go to the other church. So I kept going and going. Then I started learning. I started learning a whole lot. I started sacrificing a lot. I started learning. But she was still stuck in the same place where she was at, right? So then we ended up getting married or whatever. You know what I mean? I didn't know to pray about to see if this is what God wanted me to do. Yeah. In my mind, I've been with you for years, and we got a child together. So in my mind, it's the right thing to do. Right. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes what we think is the right thing to do, it may not be God's plan for
We
our life.
we
right?
acting in our own strength. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So one day we down there, we end up going to church, the church. So we in the church, and they started trying to get her to praise God. So she started praising God in the church or whatever, the prayer. She just lost control, got slain in the spirit or whatever, right? So now I'm sitting back a couple of days later. I'm sitting back. I'm in the house. I'm in the Word. She started acting crazy because I got the Bible out, reading the Bible. So in my mind, I said, listen, why don't you jump in, get a book, and jump in it with me? You know what I mean? And we both can, but after that, she began to do whatever she wanted to do. You know what I mean? And then here I am, still being faithful or whatever. I take a trip, Bishop Hunter, put together a trip for the men that go see T.D. Jakes over in Atlanta, Manpower Conference. So I go to the conference. I come back, she out cheating on me and this and that, right? So I says, okay. You know what I mean? I said, yeah, this ain't where I'm supposed to be, I don't believe. You know what I mean? So then that I needed that because it helped me fuel my prayer life. You know what I mean? I was hurt by it, stressed out, but God used that to fuel my prayer life. And I started to get closer and closer and closer to God. And then when God was telling me, yeah, it's time to get out, I got out.
Same thing happened to me.
What I mean?
Same thing.
The crazy thing about it is, this is what's crazy about it. When I got out, I was more happier being out of it than what I was when I was in it. Man.
Amen.
I'm telling you.
Amen.
I was more happy when I was out of it than when I was in it, man. I said, yo, listen. I said, this is crazy, man. I'm having more fun now than when I was in there.
What stood out to me is when you had your Bible open. Okay. To me, when I'm doing something spiritual and I get a bad reaction, something is on that person. And you notice people start calling you when you're reading your Bible. You're like, who this person? Or me and my friend was having a spiritual conversation. She had exes calling her. I was like, oh my, that's how the enemy works. And I understand when you say when you left, you were done. Like, I feel like I can breathe the next day. I'm not one person to celebrate divorce, but sometimes the devil has a chokehold over you in that marriage. You're walking on eggshells. You can't breathe. Like, I was literally, they told me in church, he said, something is choking you every night. And I was like, I'm told not one soul in the world. What?
Man, python spirit. It's a python spirit. They call that a python spirit.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, python spirit, man.
He prayed for me, it was gone.
Yeah, I was so happy, man. I said, yeah, it's time for me. I said, yeah, it's time for me.
And you also heard it from God. It's not like you was like on your own, like, I'm gonna do this. It's like you felt like God was telling you gotta go. You know what I mean? I felt like that too. Yeah. I was like, well, God, I promised you. And he's like, listen, I didn't send you here to die. Like, you gotta go. Like, it's time to go. I taught you everything that you need to. And I told him, if you let me get married, I will have a good relationship with you. So it wasn't until after I got married. And then I'm gonna have to use all them skills to pray because it was a mess. You know what I mean? But I got so close to God right after I got married, and that's when I started my journey. So who knows? I think that everything happens for a reason. I wasn't out here in the streets. I was a married woman. I was, I try to find the good in it, but I did understand. I understand what you went through because I went through that too. How long were you married?
I tried to do that too, man, for like 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
Or something like that. I think she cheated on me, but 2 or 3 times. Yeah, 2 or 3 times, man.
That's a lot. That's a lot of cheating for that little 4 years. That's a lot of cheating. It's like you never stop.
But being so blinded by love, man. Being so blinded by love and lust.
I'm about to say lust.
It like paralyzes you and keep you there. You know what I mean? So then when I started thinking, I had to go back. The Holy Spirit took me back to the beginning of the relationship, how it started. You know what I mean? The foundation was built on lust. So I believe anything built on lust, it's not gonna last. I don't think it's gonna last.
Yeah.
Anything built on lust.
Because it's loving from the outside and not the inside.
Yeah.
That's the material things. Loving that man from the outside was as a woman. Loving a man from the outside based off of the material things that he has. And you coveting yourself. That's my car. That's my money. That's my salary. And it's like, that's a bad foundation. Why don't you love that man inside out? How about you can, because then you can like him when everything's down. People think that somebody was on Facebook telling them, like he was saying, and I was proud of him. He was like, well, I had to shut my business down. And, you know, like he lost his job. All this stuff was going on wrong all at the same time. And he said people think that business is always up, but sometimes it's down. So life is, that man with the money or whatever, that woman with the body, like it's going to be down one day. Can you stand the person? Can they, are they a positive person? Are they negative? You know how bad it is to have somebody negative nagging at you every day. I used to get phone calls. What you doing? Like being like a security patrol person. And it's like, this is prison. So when you don't have that anymore and the enemy can't get to you like that anymore, it's like freedom like you've never experienced. It's crazy.
Yeah. You're right about that. You're right about that, man.
And that's why I say definitely people don't know this. People don't know these things. I'm so grateful that you came on today to be able to speak up for men. Like people think that, well, what do you think about the 6-figure guys? Like women that say man must have 6 figures to get married to, like, what do you think about that whole conversation? Have you heard that before?
The 6-figure guys and women want to, that's because women are looking for the money. They're not looking for the guy. They're looking for the money. They're not looking for the guy. You know what I mean? See, people get it twisted when they go looking for the money. The money don't mean happiness. We all heard over the past 2 or 3 years, billionaires have committed suicide over money. You know what I mean? So the money don't make you happy. And when you get into it after the money and stuff like that, that money will begin to flow like it ain't nothing. It'll flow like it ain't nothing. Meaning, you know, you'll end up just spinning it.
It'll be gone.
I believe anything that comes quick goes quick.
That's true. Because you didn't earn it, so it's like winning the lottery. Yeah. She's gonna spend your money more so than anything else because she didn't earn it. So it's like and you're waiting for something that hasn't happened. All the people that's waiting for the 6-figure guy, like show me them that's getting married to him and he's being faithful. You don't see it. You don't really see it like that. You going by what you see on social media, which is all a half truth. Now, let me ask you a question. Women are working nowadays, right? Before they were at home, you know, taking care of the kids, like a long time ago, right? But now they're working. Do you see an effect on working women, like as far as their attitude, as far as wanting to serve their man now that they have to make money just like a man?
I believe that if a woman works and a man works, I don't see what's the issue in that. Because for number one, we're all a team. You know what I mean? We're a team. So if we working, right? If we working, like say my girlfriend, she go to school, right? If you can't work, I hold it down. You know what I mean? But, you know, if you work it, that's better for us. We can keep saving, keep working on what we need to work on. You know what I mean? You know, because in my mind, we got goals set. You know what I mean? I don't care. I don't care if my girlfriend makes more money than I think, because if we a team, we playing for the same team. You know what I mean? We're playing for the same team and we got the same goal. You know what I mean? So I don't sweat. I don't worry about stuff.
I don't think the men have a problem. Some men do, but I think
it don't affect me.
The women are like, because I'm making money now, I have so much more say, and you can't tell me nothing. And if I don't want to cook or clean, then I don't have to. Like that's where it's like.
You know what that is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's when you get into manipulation and power. They try to use the power to say this and manipulation to say that, and then try to downplay the guy and talk to the guy versus looking at his feelings and how he would feel about that. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what I think. That's where the issue comes in now. You know what I mean? And a lot of men got a lot of ego. Like, oh no, you're not gonna talk to me like this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So now, what I'm gonna do right now is, okay, well, you keep doing you. You know what I'm saying? You make the money. I do this. And that. But also, I'm gonna start doing this on the side, or I'm gonna start doing that on the side. But if a woman feels that way, and this and that, right? Like I told you before, a man can have $1 million potential, but not have the right woman behind him, the backing, to get it out of him. You know what I mean? To help him get that out of him. You know what I'm saying? And if it's meant by God, and the woman is there, and the woman takes the rightful place in order to get her man up to where she at. One thing people gotta understand is when you meet somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
That don't mean both of y'all are on the same page. One may be higher and the other one may be lower. Okay, so now if I see that I'm here and you down there, I gotta figure out, we need to come up with a plan in order to get you up to here. You see what I'm saying? So now if I'm making 6 figures and I'm making double what you making and this and that, you know what I'm saying? I don't want you to be inferior, or I don't want you to feel like you less of me because I'm making more than what you need to make. We need to figure it out so I can get you up to here.
So if you thinking like that, I'm sorry, I gotta cut you off. You say so many gems, I can't keep up. Okay, so if the women think the same way you're thinking, that's what I'm saying. All right, so let's say there's somebody in power, and it's now my turn. A lot of times when management is switching, the old manager teaches the new manager. So the men had power, they had position before. Okay, they were the leaders of the home, they were making the money, right? If if the women can just listen and say, okay, this is what you do with power. You don't use it for evil, you use it for good. And we can take a page out of your book and say, you know what, I need to get you to my level. Then we will stop looking down and we will start trying to build him up as well. You have a skill that he may need that would have took him to the next level. Men, they will work. I know men that work every single day. They work every single day. If we would just put them in the right position, they would kill it. Like I know me, and I don't compete with men. I used to. I ain't crazy no more. They gonna run me off that treadmill so fast because the sheer will and strength, they just can keep going. And I'm just like, I gotta go. I got babies to feed. I gotta take a break. My head hurt, and they can keep going. I can go for a long time now, but they can keep going. But I will be crabby, I will be upset. And I'm just like, why not let them do that? So I was thinking about something. I said, you know what? This is a real good plan for the Black community. The women, we are really good at starting stuff. We got this shiny object syndrome. We want to start this. We want to start that. We want to start that. But the problem is, who's going to work all of those things? If a woman can start something and a man can finish it and keep doing it, the men are good at maintaining, right? And they maintain the car. They make sure the car is clean. I heard a lot of guys say, "Oh, I know a lot of girls and their car is dirty," right? Because the men are the maintainers. They take good care of stuff. I gotta admit, I gotta give y'all flowers when y'all do it, because before, I guess I gotta make up for not saying it before, but it's like y'all take care of everything that you have. Most good men do. And so if the women can start the businesses and the men can put the work in and make sure it's going to the next level and make sure everybody's doing what they need to do, we will get so much further than us trying to compare. I'm going to compare an apple to an orange, a man to a woman. Don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? It reminds me of the scripture that Jesus said when they came to him and said, you casting out demons by the power of Beelzebub. His reply was, Satan has a kingdom, but his kingdom isn't divided. You know what I mean? You know, and then they start talking about a house divided against itself won't stand. You know what I mean? So that's what I think is happening in a lot of households like that. Their houses aren't standing because they're divided. They're not on the same page. You see what I'm saying? Like I'll give you this, right? My girlfriend, she she had a job. She wasn't really making that much money, but I was making like 2.5 times double what she makes, and but you know I had a business on the side, and she was helping me with that business on the side, and I was giving her more money. So now I said, you know what? I came up with a plan. Listen, this is what I want you to do. If you listen to what I'm telling you to do, I got you. So she says, okay. So I started teaching her the ins and out of the restaurant business, right? So then she went from a shift manager to assistant manager, right? Then she went from assistant manager to a general manager to the same position I had, to where she was making more money than what I was making. You see what I'm saying?
Hold on, I'm confused about something. That was at her job, or that's the position you gave her?
We was working together.
Oh, okay.
Together
under the same
at
job.
Both jobs.
Okay.
Yeah, at both jobs we was working together.
Okay.
So we met at the job. So you know when I seen it in her, and me and her connected, you know, with the Bible stuff and this and that, we connected. We just begin to be attracted to each other, right? So I helped her come from where she was at to get to the same level where I was at. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't have enough pride the pride didn't mess with me when she got moved up to the same position and was making more money than I was making. I was in the position longer. I didn't let pride hold me down, because in my mind, all that money is coming to one household and we all on the same page. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, hold on one second.
Plus we had a business on the side.
Hold on one second. There's something I want to insert here. There was something that we learned along the way of the Ruth and Relationship show, where it's like when a man does something, let's say he takes you out on a date. That's why you should never complain when you're on a date. He feels responsible for making you happy on the date. So when you complain, you it's like you saying he didn't do a good enough job. So when with you helped build her up. So it was like you and her, like it was happening to you too, because you were pouring into her so she can be a better person or have a better position. And that was just like you getting it at the same time. So this is what good men do. Like they want to see the seed is planted, and they're going to water it, they're going to maintain it, they're going to take care of it, and it's going to grow. So when women don't understand the value of men, it's like if you have a good man, you're going to flourish as a woman.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you finish.
Yeah. So then a lot of people started to hate on her. You know what I mean? So then I had to school like, listen.
She got the man and the money.
yeah. I'm like, listen, don't pay attention to that. Stay focused on what you need to stay focused on. Remember, you know what I mean? Certain stuff is gonna come at you. The enemy is gonna use it and try to get you sidetracked. You know what I mean? When that comes along, look at it like this: you're on the right track. Keep going.
You know what you sound like right now? You sound like you sound like when a boxer's in the ring. You sound like that coach in your ear, and that's another benefit of a man. They're gonna be talking you like I knew something was missing. I had a business, and I was like, dang, I sure wish I had that support. Not even a cheerleader, but like a coach. I wish you could guide me and tell me. I used to say I want a man to teach me something. I want somebody that knows stuff and that can draw it out of me, or can motivate me and keep me up, my spirits up. And I would make so much money, even on my own, by that person talking to me, by that person continue to be in that ear. Why did the boxer have the coach in the corner? So that's what it's for, your mindset. So go ahead.
So what I try to do is this, right? You know, I don't throw what I did for nobody in their face. I don't do that because I think that's wrong.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it out of the grace of my heart. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because when you begin to do stuff like that, if certain people can't take that, they rebel against you. Then you end up arguing. You see what I'm saying? But my thing is, I just don't. If I do it out of the grace of my heart, I do it out of the grace of my heart. I don't need to say nothing else to you about that. You know what I mean? You know, because my reward don't come from me. It come from God.
I gotta stop you. I gotta stop you again. I gotta stop you again. If women in a higher position than men, than their husbands and their boyfriends, would think like that, if they stay humble and not throw in, well, I'm the one to help you go to school, and I'm the one that this and that, and I'm the one. Just stop taking the credit and let the credit go to God. And then what happens is, I say, like, if you love a man, he loves you even more. Just accept his love and just accept that covering, and accept now when you see him grow into this, you know, beautiful plant or whatever, he like from where he was before to wherever that he is now, he can one day cover you. I've seen it happen where the girl was the one that was making the money, and then the guy grew in. The guy came into the family business and all of that. She had a dad guiding her and helping her. She helped her husband. Now her husband's taking care of everything, and she's staying home. And you know, this is a big social media influencer. But if she looked down on that man, you don't got this and you don't got that, and you don't have 6 figures day one, that she would have. He's gonna have millions of dollars. They have millions of dollars now, and they're still under 30 years old. But like you said, that potential, you know. But the women like, I'm sick of potential. I'm sick of this and I'm sick of that. But I think also that the women that did marry that guy for potential, they're not really telling their stories. I have to hear the stories from the guys. Like, well, when I first started, the guys that make money now and they're married to their wife and they're faithful. I was listening to a panel, and there was like, when I first started, I didn't have anything. Matter of fact, my woman covered the bills for me back in the day, right? When that was still okay. Then when that was still a thing, nowadays we would never dare, right? And not have somebody back, not be their partner, even though they would do it for us. Even though they would do it for us, you can't do it for the guy on the couch though. That's the difference. But those guys are saying she had my back, but now the guys are making millions of dollars. But you saying I want the guy to come already done, already ready. They're not gonna want to be with that woman. But anyway, you got anything else to add?
Though. You know what though? I give this last one though, right? Because a lot of people think, a lot of men think that it makes them the king of the house because they're making all of the money and they the king. You know what I mean? But if we talking, that's just what they think. But if we talking spiritual, the Bible says that you should be the priest of your house. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of people don't know what that means. You know what I mean? You cover your house in prayer. You cover your wife in prayer. You cover your kids in prayer. You the priest of the house. You know what I mean? If you the king, you just think everybody's supposed to serve you as you the king. Nah, that's not right. That's not how that goes. That's how, you know, you end up in these situations. That's crazy. You see what I'm saying?
That's true.
A lot of people don't look at it like that. You know what I mean? And like we said before, it's because a lack of knowledge and ego, and they want to look good, and they want the woman to look up to them. You know what I mean? And they try to keep certain women like that because they got this and they flash this and they flash that. Not knowing that it's setting them up because now the woman isn't looking at you for who you are. They're looking at you for the money because that's what you're portraying. You see what I'm saying?
Told somebody that I say, why does your dating profile have your car in it, your new car in it, and then you wonder why the girls want you for your money? Like that's what you put out there.
Yeah,
just like a women that when we put all our bodies out there, that's what they're gonna want you for. You're gonna attract the wrong kind of guy.
Yeah. Lust. Yeah. You're gonna trust lust, man. And you gotta let me know when you be going live.
I'm gonna change it to Friday.
I said that to my notifications.
Yeah,
man.
please
notifications,
set your notifications up. Have you seen any shows in the past?
Yeah, I seen a couple before, but I ain't got off of Facebook here and there. You know, I started working these other jobs, so I've been a little bit busy. Okay. But here and there, when I got time to get on, I get on though.
So does any one of them stick out to you of something that you heard that you liked, or that you would address?
What, a while ago that we talked?
Yeah.
That was a minute
Any
ago.
shows?
Yeah, that was a minute ago. I forget what we was talking about though.
Okay. Yeah, but you were in the comments. So, okay, I got you.
No, it was about relationships. I know that.
Right.
Yeah, it was about relationships.
Yeah.
It was. I think Monday. Nah, that wasn't the day when you was in LA. I don't think you did one when you was in LA. Did you?
No, I didn't do the show. I stopped going to LA like the last 2 years. So no, it wasn't that. But I just was asking, like, is there anything you have ever disagreed with me about what I said on the show?
Nah. I think you'd be on point.
I appreciate
That's why I had to jump in because hold on, man, you ignited something in me. Like, hold on.
And you returned the favor. You returned the favor.
Yeah. Nah, I don't disagree with you. I agree totally with you, man. I never disagree with you. That's why I still log on. But I guess.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Now I got one more thing. So do you think me taking money off the table, right? I took money off the table. I took looks off the table. Now, still got the look, but when should a woman take money off the table when evaluating a future spouse?
Should they take money off the table?
Like that's not the primary thing that they looking for in that person.
I don't think so, because if this is a person, I would say the first things first is getting to know the person.
Right.
Getting to know the person, the potential and everything else. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Getting to know and finding out if when you get to know the person, finding out what's what with the person or whatever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't want money to be the because the enemy can come in and then change your mind, and then you'll be focused on the money versus really getting to know the person.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say, I would take the money off of it, get to know the person or whatever, you know what I mean? And then, while you doing that, you praying, asking God this, you praying, asking God that, you know what I mean? So you don't make the wrong decisions, because the most important thing is you can't get time back, man.
No.
Time. I wish I could go back and get years back that I wasted with the wrong person, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you want to pray about it and make sure that's God's will for your life. This is your time.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when God said, okay, this is what? Okay, well then I heard from God. And I truly know that I heard from God, and then okay, well, what's the next move? That's when the goals come in. All right, well, if it's a money issue, what can we do to fix this money issue? We need to come together, put our heads together. This is what we need to do. Boom, 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 boom. Let's work on this. Let's get to this. Let's try to build an LLC. Let's try to do this. Let's try to do that. You know what I mean? You can't find a job in other places. We can start our own business, start our own LLC, or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? That's what I think should go on. You know what I mean? So that's just my opinion.
So I'm trying to give other women that's in the same position that kind of advice, because I think that you can still evaluate money by. I don't think that it's a money thing as much as it's a hard working thing. Does the person work hard? I know people that make money, and this one guy he worked from 6 to 2, and then he went home, and he ain't do nothing else for the rest of the day. And he said it bothered me. I ain't gonna hold you. It bothered me because for the rest of the day I'm working. I could start at 6 in the 10 p.m. So how's that gonna match? I'm gonna be hearing what you're doing. What are you doing? And it was the same. It was already happening. I had just met that person, and they was already asking what you doing, what you up to. Want to be on the phone because they got. Matter of fact, they had the 6 to 2 job, and they did nothing at work on top of it. So I was like, so you energized when you get home. So for me, that was a no. And he was solid financially, but I said no because I want somebody that know how to hustle. That's not going to like waste time.
You say he was comfortable.
Too comfortable. Thank you.
Yeah. Got comfortable.
So now I gotta go chill at the house with you at 3 o'clock every day. That's not gonna make any sense for me. Not my lifestyle.
Yeah, and so and it'll slow you down from when you grind.
Yes.
I met a couple girls like that too that I dealt with, and they would have issues because I would constantly be at work. So I said, listen, I ain't trying to pay nobody else the rent money. I want to own my own.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So in order for me to get there, I gotta get out there strong. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, if you ain't on the same page, then you just ain't on the same page. It caused some arguments. You know what I mean? You know, it caused some arguments, but then I tried to take when I was off and spend time with them. But then I tried to get them to understand, like, yo, listen, this is my goal, and I told you my goal before it got to this. You know what I mean? Now we done got your feelings and everything involved in it. You forgot about the goal. I said, nah, man.
Big picture.
This is the goal. We need to accomplish the goal. Yeah, I'm not writing the goal down and not moving forward to finish the goal. You know what I'm saying? We can do all of that before we reach the goal. So if you want me to do this, want me to do this and that, jump on the battlefield with me and help me reach the goal.
That's true.
That's how I look at it. You know what I'm saying?
And I also said,
with me, man, help me reach the goal.
For somebody that when somebody can understand your job, right? So let's say there's a certain time you got to be out there, a certain day. Like it might be Friday night, it might be Saturday, and it's really busy. But that's the day that person want to chill. But if that person doesn't understand your job or have enough patience, you're in your mind, you're going to retreat from your goal because you're torn. You feel like you got to go home instead of work. No, I need you to go to work. Like we need to accomplish something. We don't need to be chilling all the time. It's going to be seasons for that. So somebody that's going to turn you around from your purpose, I can see why men don't want to get married if they're not on their purpose, because it's like they will distract you. But if you have a woman who understands it and she'll play her position and her part, she's going to be like, well, he's at work. Let me leave him alone. Let me not stress him out. You know what I mean? And there are women like that.
Yeah, they gotta have patience though. You gotta have patience because you could be thrown away. See, I look at it like this. A lot of people want something that's just easy. They want something that's easy. They don't want to work for nothing. You see what I'm saying? Because it's easy to link up with a girl that got what you got, or whatever the case may be. But what you gonna do when life happens and one of y'all lose a job or whatever the case may be, and then now you're frustrated because you got to handle all these bills, and she got this going on, and she got that going on, you know what I mean? And then, you know, you're frustrated. You know what I'm saying? She can't find nothing else. What are you going to do then?
Right.
You know what I mean? Are you going to down talk her? You know what I'm saying? Are you going to say all this crazy stuff to her? Or are you going to support her and keep pushing her and keep pushing her and keep pushing her and keep pushing her?
Do you know what's interesting in this conversation? Not to cut you off, but you know what's interesting in this conversation? From the whole time I've been talking from the woman's side, and the whole time you was talking from the man's side. You're not here like putting down women. You're like, men, this is what we need to do. And I'm like, women, this is what we need to do. And that's the way conversations should be. We should just look at it, our side of it. How can we make it better versus pointing our finger to the other side and saying, y'all doing this wrong and y'all doing that wrong. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I agree. That's where the teamwork got to come in at. You know what I mean? You got to be the team. If you look at a basketball team and they compete for a championship, everybody is on one accord. Everybody is competing. You know what I mean? Everybody is competing. You always got somebody that's trying to hold the other team member up. Listen, we got to do better. We got to practice. We got to do this. We got here by practice, man. So we got to practice. So if we don't practice on our weaknesses, I think we get strong. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the key thing is learning the weaknesses. You know what I mean? Learning the other person. Learning how to motivate the other person. That's a lot of hard work, and people don't want to do that. You know what I mean? People don't want to do that because they feel, you know what, it's easier. And you know what, it don't make sense. It's kind of funny, though, because they say it's easier for me to leave this one and then find someone else. And then when they go and find someone else, they end up with the same person that was like the same one that they left.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's a revolving cycle. Then you still end up with the same one. You know what I mean? And then you ain't did no work on yourself. You ain't took the time to work on yourself. You know what I mean? So maybe it might not. The problem might not even be the woman. The problem may be you.
Personal development. You got to work on it. Yeah. Personal development. When you were talking about teamwork and all that, you were talking about leadership. This is leadership, and maybe our upbringing did not teach us leadership, but there's a lot of books that would teach us the same thing. I'm sure you learned a lot of this from being in a restaurant business and having to motivate people, your staff, and you're doing that as well with your in your relationship. So it's beautiful to see that these are the things that I got to think about when running my business. So if we really about it and we really boss chicks like we say from the women's side, then we're gonna find a way to motivate our man. I'm not motivating no man. I'm not this and then the third. What do you mean? Like there's a relationship guy. He studies hormones, and that's what I was trying to say about the women working and stuff like that. Sometimes, like if I'm working all day, listen, when I come home, you know what I mean, and things out of place, that's the only time you'll hear me nagging at these kids because I'm just like, what is going on? And I know on the other side of that, I used to hate that, but it's just like, yo, my ankles hurt, my back hurt, everything is hurting, and I need you to work with me. But what happens with women is that we are on our male side all day. When we don't take that little break and recuperate, we don't even know how to be feminine with our men at home because we didn't get a chance to get a break. We just keep working. And that's going to make us crabby. And I'm the nicest person, but listen, after 13 hours, something got to give. You know what I mean? You want what now? So it's just like we have to get that moment where we recuperate. Just like when men have to go to the cave, women have to now go to their cave, get themselves together, and then come back out like everything's okay. Because that's really our hormones are out of place. And that makes us sick. You guys can work all day and not be sick. You guys will be proud of yourself at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, for us, we feel depleted. And we do the most on top of that. So it's really a huge problem that we don't know about. And if you don't know it and you can teach your man how to give you what you need, you're teaching him in a way, you're leading him in a way, but you're leading him in a relationship space. And if you don't know it, people perish from the lack of knowledge, then you don't know what to tell him. And if he don't know it, yet that's how y'all both frustrated and not communicating well.
Yeah.
So I was bringing that up not to put the women down. I was just bringing it up to let the men know it's a thing there that we got to figure out together. And the biggest thing men can do for us now that we work is emotional support.
Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah,
we can do this all night. Thank you so much.
You're right about that. You're right about that.
Good conversation. Good conversation.
Yeah.
We got to do it again.
Yeah, when's the next time you on?
I'm gonna do it on Fridays now.
At what time?
Friday night around like the same time, 10 p.m. Fridays at 10. Because Thursdays is like my busiest day. So
yeah, I'm gonna have to jump on.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to jump on, man. It's good talking to you, man. We'll talk later.
Good talking to you too. I hope everybody learned something from our conversation. It was a great conversation. Everything you said was on point. I didn't disagree with one thing that you said. It was just great. So thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate it, Chris. Oh, and when you're ready to start that restaurant, let me know. We're gonna get you some commercial property. The house, the commercial property, the credit. We got you. We got y'all. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Talk to you soon. All right, guys. Thank you so much. This is it. Okay. You know what's the blessing in all of this as well? I have tried to figure out how to get I'm not on Instagram, but I was able to show the conversation the whole time, Corey, that of us talking on Facebook. So I figured it out while we were talking. That was good. Thank you guys so much for watching the Ruthless Relationship Show. Guys, please leave your comments. Let me know what you thought about the show. let's start going back and really listening, digesting, eating that up. It was a lot of things said, a lot of Bible verses dropped. God is like really interested in us getting this together. God is really interested in his people coming back together, reuniting with each other and finding each other. He wants to see us together. So why not? Because I'm telling you, we was thinking the same thing. We was talking about the same thing. My points is right here. And Mr. Corey hit on a lot of these points. So, I just believe that God has a message for us in this time. And I didn't know that Ruth relationships gonna get super spiritual, but this is a side y'all don't see. But it's gonna come out a lot more because it's like really real. Because I'm now the thing that I've been praying for, I'm walking in it right now. And it's because of all of the work we've been doing on the show. So thank you guys so much for watching Ruth and Relationships. Ruth and Relationships. Tell me, can you handle it? It's the Ruth and Relationship Show. Bye. Wait. I was doing sound effects tonight. Let's see if we got some today. They're gonna be slow motion, but they're here. There you go. Bye guys.